Again, okay, I think we are live. Okay, so I am making sure that it is live in the group.
Yeah,
Give
I'm
me a
doing the same.
second. Hello, hello. I think it is up. Am I seeing it in the group? Okay, it says here that we have lift off. I know it's in the. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, so yeah, it should be in the Facebook group.
Yep,
I'm
I
not
see it.
seeing it. Oh, I think
I,
that's it. Did it just drop? There we go.
I
Okay,
can see
we
it.
are officially live. It takes 30 seconds to get it going.
No
Hello,
problem.
everybody. Welcome to the today's event. I have a special guest today. So let's just take a step back. This is the accountability group. This is part of the accountability group. We started on Sunday, so this means that this is day 4, and I hope you can see my fingers. I've got a
I can see it.
background.
I can see
There we
it.
go. Yeah. And as part of the accountability group, I wanted to bring in a guest speaker. And from the group, they actually decided that we wanted to do this into the actual Facebook group. So without further ado, I have Christine here. And Christine is a fitness chef, she's a podcaster. She's an author of several cookbooks and nutrition certified in 2B mindset. So that's a course that she did in CrossFit and holistic nutrition, and a lover of all things food and fitness. So welcome, Christine. Thank you
Thank
for taking the
you.
time to come meet us and then do a little bit of a chat with us.
It is my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's always wonderful to be with everybody. And hopefully, this will inspire you to cook on your own. My whole premise in cooking is to make it very simple and faster than you can go through drive through. Because I know if we don't plan, then we just throw it up to the wind and eat whatever. So these are just some very quick recipes that you could do. So I'm going to do some chicken
Absolutely.
tenders that are rolled in. They're in with Greek yogurt. It is a full fat Greek yogurt, so it's a Fage 5% Greek yogurt that I just marinated our chicken tenders in. Let's see that. And you
Yeah.
want to make sure you take out the little white piece there. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. It's going to be a little bit hard to see,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
but you want to clean your chicken before you marinate it. So I'll show you what you're looking for.
So
So,
this is for something quick, something
yeah.
easy.
So here's your chicken tenderloin right here, right? And you'll see
Mm-hmm.
that little white piece right at the edge. You want to trim that white piece off. It is not really, you're not really able to eat that portion of it. It's very, it's very hard to chew. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our chicken that has been marinated in Greek yogurt that I also added some Lowry seasoning to, because with seasoning is very important. And I'm just gonna lay them in this air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, you can go ahead and do it right in your oven at 450 degrees. Not a problem at all. So we're just gonna lay them
Okay.
out so they're not touching. Very
Right,
simple.
right, right, right.
We're gonna go ahead and put that in the air fryer. It's gonna go on for 390 degrees for 20 minutes. But don't worry, we don't have to wait all that time. I did some ahead so you can see it. But I'm going to go wash my hand one
Yeah.
second.
Okay.
I'll be
Mm-hmm.
right back.
Yeah, everyone, feel free to ask any questions. Christine
Yes,
is a expert in nutrition, and she can answer any type of question you have.
I forgot one crucial step. We forgot to put them in the crumbs. So we're going to roll them
I was
in.
gonna say something was missing.
Yes, yes, yes. We're going to roll them in. They're actually in cornflakes. They would still be good even without the cornflakes. So if you're a person that doesn't want the breading, you don't need it. But we're going to lay them in those cornflakes to have a little bit of Parmesan cheese in it. So I put some Parmesan Reggiano in there. I just grated it
Yeah.
straight into the cornflakes that I mashed by hand. So you can have this ready really quickly. So sorry about that. Okay, so we're just rolling these in our cornflakes. And if y'all have questions, just hit me up. Let me know.
Yeah, I let people know if they have any questions. Go right ahead. Yeah.
Remember to season and season. So I seasoned the cornflakes with the Lowry's. I seasoned the chicken and the yogurt. It is full fat Greek yogurt. Obviously, it's
Okay.
plain, no flavoring. So let me
Does
clean
that
off my
add
pan.
something? Does that give it like is it just for texture for the
So
crumbs?
it helps the chicken adhere to the cornflakes adhere to the chicken. It also
Yeah.
tenderizes the chicken, and obviously it
Okay.
increases the protein because there's protein in the Greek yogurt. You got the protein of the
Right.
chicken, the protein of the cheese. So all that is a
Yeah.
big boost of protein. Let me go ahead and pop these back in there.
Wow. Okay.
And
And the
then
air fryer is super useful as well.
yes, the air fryer is fantastic. One, it doesn't have to preheat. You can just turn it on and start cooking. So
Oh,
that saves a
really?
lot of time.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about vegetables. So the premise
Yeah.
behind To Be Mindset is for people that like to eat a lot, you're going to try to
Mhm.
go with veggies most. So most of your plate is going to be vegetables. That's going to keep you full. It's going to add to the great nutrition that vegetables provide. And
Right.
there's a million ways that you can go ahead and prepare them. But the easiest way to do
Mhm.
it is to pop them all in a high heat oven, get them all done at the same time. So let me show you how I do that. So because we don't want to wait forever, I'm going to show you what this chicken looks like once it's done. You'll see it looks just like
Okay.
fried chicken, like little chicken tenders. And then we're going to
Right.
make some green bean fries. And I bought these crinkle cut carrots. We're going to make some chips out of those and some roasted asparagus. So you'll see there's
Asparagus.
lots of different
Yeah.
flavors on there. So the easiest
Mhm.
way to do it is to get yourself a sheet pan. I love nonstick foil because it's so easy to work with. It keeps everything super easy to clean. I've got a bag of frozen broccoli. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the sheet pan. And you want to lay it as flat as possible. And then I've got that asparagus. I'm going to go ahead and take that out. The good thing about asparagus is it practically trims itself. So you're going to find the natural break in the asparagus. Sometimes they're very woody, so you get more stem, and
Mhm.
sometimes you'll get less. But we want to discard the stem part, and that will be for stock a little bit later. We can make a sauce with that. We want to throw it out, but we don't want to eat it because it's too woody. So we're
Right.
just taking these tender pieces of the asparagus and laying them out in the sheet pan next to our broccoli.
I'm getting hungry.
There you go.
Anybody else getting hungry?
You gotta eat before you do it, right?
Yeah, right. Just like shopping then. You have to
That's
eat
true.
before you go.
It's true.
Okay.
So we're just
Yeah.
gonna lay those out. And then I like to eat the rainbow. So we're gonna have lots of color. And if you're gonna preheat the oven, you might as well stack it full. All right. So we're gonna grab us some carrots, like I said. And I like these crinkle cut carrots because they just save time. So we're gonna
Okay.
go ahead and lay some of those out.
So we're redoing the plate that you made. Asparagus,
Yep.
carrots, what else did we have there?
Green beans
Green beans,
and
okay,
broccoli.
and broccoli. Okay.
Yeah. You can use anything. You can use Brussels sprouts. You can use really any kind of vegetable likes high heat roasting. So what I really teach is more of a method than a specific recipe. Because
Okay.
you
I
want
like
to
that.
use what you have. So from there,
Mhm.
we're just gonna dash it with some olive oil. We're just gonna go over the top just a little bit.
Yeah.
Get everything coated.
Mhm.
And a little bit of kosher salt, because everything needs flavor.
Absolutely.
And think McDonald's French fries. You know, you got lots of salt. That's what you want. And we're gonna put a little bit of pepper. Oops, wrong one.
I
Pepper.
really like that idea that you mentioned. It's about the what is the term that you said? Like the system that you're using. That it's not per se a specific recipe,
It's
but
not a
it's
recipe. It's really just
it's
learning
a
how
me-
to do it so that you can use anything you have. So in essence, you may not want to use. Maybe you don't like chicken. You could use
yeah,
pork. You could use
right,
fish. There's
yeah.
many options, but the idea is still the
Mhm.
same. You're coating
Yeah.
it in the cornflakes, and the reason I use cornflakes is that they're gluten free. Your body
Okay.
can break them down faster than it can wheat. So it gives you a
Mm.
little bit more, plus they stay super crunchy. But if you don't like
And it's
cornflakes, you could use panko crumbs. You could use regular
okay.
breadcrumbs. So there's lots
Yeah.
of different options, but you want to think, how is my body going to get the most fuel? So
Hmm.
we know that our body can process the gluten-free easier than it can the wheat. So that's why I swapped it out. So now I've
Right.
got all this with its olive oil and it's all, I'm just going to flip them over so everybody gets a little of that olive oil love. Just marinate
Olive
it
oil and
around.
salt. Okay,
Olive
keeping
oil,
it
salt,
really
and pepper.
simple.
Super,
Salt
super
and
simple. You could use a seasoning salt if you like Lowry's, or you can just keep it simple. I just like kosher salt. So I'm going to pop these into our 450-degree oven,
Okay.
and everything will get done about the same time. So it takes about 20 minutes
Mm,
for all of it to be done. In the
okay.
meantime, we're also going to use the rest of that oven because we're going to do a squash.
This is a squash.
Yes, we're going to do squash.
Absolutely. The
I
other day,
love,
I like to bake. Is that what
I
we're
love
doing here?
spaghetti. Yes, I love
Ah,
spaghetti squash
spaghetti. Yeah.
because you can do so much with it. But it's very difficult to cut in half. So the trick I use for that is when it's whole, I wrap it in plastic wrap and I put it in the microwave for 5 minutes until the
Okay.
outside has softened and I can cut through it very simple. Then once I'm there,
Oh,
I just hand scoop out the seeds and they come
wow.
out magic. They come out super, super easy. So you don't have to fight with it and try and get it flat and it's rolling all
Yeah,
around. This is the
I
easy way
like
to do
that.
it. So
Microwave 5 minutes.
five
I
minutes
think that
wrapped in
alone was a
plastic.
great tip. Okay,
And
perfect.
then we're gonna go ahead and also put a little bit of olive oil in that one. You could use butter if you like butter better. We're gonna use a little bit of the seasoning salt.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna flip it upside down. So it's
Mhm.
softened from the microwave, so it won't take quite as long to do it sitting in the oven. We're just getting
Okay.
that good caramelization in the oven. So
Yeah.
now we've got all the racks in the oven
Yeah.
covered. So that 450 degrees that I have in there is going to cook everything at the same time. And that's what we're
Oh,
looking
yeah.
for. Because so this will be actually for a couple meals. We don't have to do just today's stuff. We can do stuff,
Hmm.
when you get hungry, you may not want to actually start from scratch. You might want to just go to the refrigerator and be like, okay, I've got this. I'll heat it up. And that's
I think,
kind of what
yeah,
the idea is that, the more you can prepare it. So I've spent what, like 5 minutes preparing all this?
yeah.
And this is enough for 2 to 3 people. So it's
Wow.
quicker than, I took my grandson to Chick-fil-A the other night and I sat in that drive-through for 20 minutes. And I could have made all this in that time. And when you make your
That's
own
funny.
food, you control what goes in it.
Yeah.
And that is the most important part. When you control what you're eating, your outcome is by far better. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter what you're
absolutely.
making.
Yeah, because I find that I've worked in restaurants, I've been a cooker and I've been, on the
Yep.
blind prep, and it's amazing that, if you actually cook at home, how much more control you have just on the salt content, the
Yes.
sugar.
I
There's a
mean,
lot of
anybody that's ever worked in a restaurant knows your primary job is to make it taste good, and
yeah,
you'll add everything you can to make it taste great. But that doesn't
absolutely.
mean that means you're getting a lot of extra calories that you're not
Yeah,
thinking about.
yeah,
So
all the creams and stuff, yes. I like going to the restaurant, but only as a last resort, to be honest. Because I mean, the meal that you're making right now is absolutely amazing.
I like going to the restaurant because I don't want to do all the dishes. No
Ah,
lie, and I can talk. So, but I never really care about what I order. I just like to talk. So when I
yeah,
when I go out, I always order double vegetables and something grilled. So this
that's a
way, I
great idea.
know
Yeah.
that is somewhat healthy.
Yeah,
A little
yeah,
better.
absolutely. That's a great idea.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
let's make some dessert while we're waiting for all that to cook.
I
So
like this. Wow.
I've got some of my Greek yogurt, my full fat Greek yogurt. I'm going to pop this in. If anybody's been with me before, they know this is a favorite of mine. But you got to do it. And this is a whey chocolate protein powder.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So
That's
we need
right.
one scoop of chocolate protein powder. Pop that baby in
I've
there.
never thought about adding protein powder to a dessert.
Hey,
That's
hey, that's my style. In fact, that's what my
yeah.
whole podcast was about the other day. And we're gonna
Ah,
add,
really?
yes, we're gonna add a splash of almond milk, just a
Does it
little bit.
matter actually the time that you use, that you kinda, like, consume protein? Is it like a cutoff?
So not necessarily, no. I mean, for me, for a woman, okay, so for women who are a little bit older,
Yeah.
what I typically tell my women is between zero point 0.8 grams and 1 gram per pound of body weight at your goal weight. So if your
Okay.
goal weight, let's say, is 120 pounds, you're looking at like
Mm,
100 to 120 grams of protein a day. That's a lot of
yeah.
protein. So
That's a
you have
lot
to
of protein.
consciously kind of add up as you go. I'm not one
Yeah.
of those people who are stuck to a tracker necessarily, but I want you to be aware of what you're eating. Because you can go a
Right.
whole day and think like, oh, I had 10 grams of protein. Well, listen, that's not going to do it. That's not going to fuel our bodies. And as we get
Mhm.
older, our muscles start breaking down and we need more protein to help it
Oh,
stay good.
really?
Yep.
Okay.
So this one, This dessert has 32 grams of protein. And
Wow.
you can eat all of it yourself. So we're just going to go ahead and whisk that together.
So we added
Greek
yogurt
yogurt,
and chocolate protein
protein
powder.
powder. Yep. And then a
Okay.
splash of almond milk or coconut milk or whatever milk you
Yeah.
like. I tend to use a non-dairy milk because it's easier for your body to digest it, and milk can be very bloating. So wheat and milk,
Yeah, I
wheat
think
and dairy
everyone.
can be
Yeah.
very bloating. But you'll see just after a few seconds, and the more you whip it, the lighter the texture will get. And then I like to put it in a nice tall glass with some berries or some nuts. It's just fabulous. So let me get us something to plate it up in.
So we got a question here. What
Yes,
are
ma'am.
some good carb sources that go with this meal? Is it the veggies?
So yes, our veggies are our carbs. But if let's say that maybe you want something more carbolicious, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you could have a nice sourdough bread. That's something that's going to digest in your body, but you have to plan for that. Let's say that you wanted to
Sourdough bread.
make like a pizza, a tiny little pizza for you.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to do that is without getting all your yeast out and everything else, you can take equal parts of flour and Greek yogurt and make a dough. And we'll do that here in a second while we wait for that to cook. I'll show you.
Oh,
Let me
wow.
show you if I like to serve this. So I love using mason jars. So I just think they're so cute. And you can prepare this ahead and just stick it in the fridge. So you have your little dessert to go. And
I
sometimes
hope
this is my breakfast.
Yeah, well, because that's it. I mean, it's yogurt, but you don't add a lot of sugars to it, and
Yeah,
it has the protein
there's
to
no
really
added sugar. It's fabulous. But you feel like you're having dessert. There.
right. That's
I taste tested it for you. All right.
I'm hoping that answered Fortune's question. She said
Yeah.
sourdough bread, and what else? Sorry,
I'm gonna show you how to I call it the magic dough. So I'll
the
show you how to
magic
make
dough.
it.
All right,
Really
magic
quick.
dough coming in.
Magic dough is coming. All right, let me get a big bowl.
Well, I'm gonna
Having a big bowl is essential because when you have a big bowl, you have less mess. It doesn't fly around all over the place. So let me get a measuring cup. So what we want is equal flour and yogurt.
equal
And then
flour
we're
and
gonna
yogurt. Okay.
Yeah. So this is King Arthur's unbleached, unbromated bread flour. Very important. We don't want bleached flour. That takes all the goodness out of it. And that's part of the
Right. Yeah.
problem. That's part of the wheat problem that people are having is that
Hmm.
they're getting all this manufactured wheat that is really hard in the digestive system. We just can't process it. And so
Yeah, definitely.
causes us bloating and uncomfortableness. And so this is a way to do it that's actually decent. All right, so now we want equal parts of flour and yogurt.
Right.
Go ahead and put that in.
It just seems so easy to make. That's the best
It's
part.
very simple.
Yeah.
Everything I do is very simple. I'm not about
Mhm.
making things more difficult. You know,
Yeah.
especially on weeknight cooking. I don't want to be here in the kitchen all day and night. I don't have time. So we have to make it fast.
Right.
Okay, so there's our yogurt and our flour and a little bit of
Yogurt
seasoning. Then we
and a
use
little
our
bit of seasoning salt.
impeccably clean hands, and we're just
And
gonna
hopefully
just
clean hands.
circle
Hopefully
around.
clean hands, please.
What's that?
I said clean hands, please. Clean hands.
That's right. I went and scrubbed them. We're good.
All right.
And we're just gonna circle around, and you'll see it start to form a ball. And we squeeze it together.
And you said
Minute.
equal parts yogurt and flour, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Equal parts yogurt and flour. And then at this point, you can make this into pizza dough. You can roll it out really thin and do it like a tortilla. You can make a calzone with it. I mean, there's a million things you can do with this dough. It is amazing in flavor, and the texture is fantastic. So there we go. There's their dough.
I think that's the most important part, like the texture. Like as
Yes.
long as it has the consistency of what it is
The
that you
texture is
want.
fantastic. So then, the way I roll it out is I take 2 sheets of plastic wrap. I'm just gonna use half of it for now. I don't really need the whole thing because we're just doing it for one. I'm gonna take 2 sheets of plastic wrap.
Can I ask another question?
Do it.
Um, what about if I consume more protein than my daily requirement? Is that
You
a
can,
bad thing?
no, it's not a bad thing, but you
Okay.
want to make sure that you're having consistent, consistent wise, that overall at least having enough. What I find with most people is they believe that they're consuming enough, and when
Hmm.
they actually track it, they're not.
Okay.
So, and
Oh,
sometimes the
wow.
reverse. Like they think that they're having 1,200 calories, but when they track it, they're actually having 1,800 calories, and they're high in
Oh,
one item. So I would say if you're high under protein, that's actually a good thing. You just
mhm,
want to make sure that you're getting enough of your carbs and enough fiber. Fiber becomes a problem when you get older. People are not having enough fiber. And
yeah,
so you want to make sure that you have all those checks and balances. You need
yeah,
those healthy fats. You need those, and it can be exhausting, but if you just look at your plate and you know that you're getting healthy fat from olive oil, for instance, and you're getting those nice roasted vegetables, so you're getting those healthy carbs,
mhm,
and then you're getting your good protein, you're in good shape. You don't only have
yeah.
to work. All right,
Because he
so
says,
let's roll
so
this
just,
out.
he said, for example, I'm 190 pounds and consuming 200 to 230 grams per day. I'm physically active in weightlifting and sports 6 days a week.
Yeah, that's not an issue at all. That's actually good. That's
Yeah,
actually,
that's a
yeah.
lot. 200 grams a day.
Yeah, that's not really that much. So if you're an active adult and you're doing a lot of weightlifting and you're doing a lot, that's actually what you should be. That's a good thing. But you do,
Okay.
again, you want to make sure that you're having good fiber, that you're also having healthy carbs, because you
Yeah.
don't, if you're doing all that activity, we want to fuel all that activity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay,
Perfect.
so here is our dough. And I'm going to put this on a pan.
He says sweet, more meat.
What's that?
He said more meat than he said. I guess he likes meat.
More meat.
Just make sure you're getting enough fiber.
Yes. So, I mean, our vegetables have a lot of fiber. So, if we're doing a half a plate of vegetables and half the plate of protein, we're good. Couple fruits in there, some good fermented foods once a day for good gut
Mm,
health. You got it covered. I know that's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that our bodies are well fueled, not just for today, but so
yeah,
that when we're, our 90-year-old self, we still can keep trucking. We don't want to be, burned out
I
by
love
then.
that idea. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so
All
we
right.
did the dough and now we're doing.
And now we're going to pop that into the oven, and then we'll
Okay.
top it with a little bit of cheese. It'll be fantastic. Let's take a
Because you,
look at our veggies and where we're at right now. So here's our
yeah,
veggies. We've been in there 10 minutes. They're starting to get a little softer. I've got this, hot hands so I can handle it, but normally you want to
yeah.
use some tongs. But we'll just give it a little shake around.
Remind us what do we have there again?
With that, we have down there, we've got broccoli, we have the asparagus, we have carrots. So the asparagus will get done faster than the carrots, so I'll take those out. And now I'm
Ah,
putting this pizza dough in there.
okay. Yep.
So let's kind of review what we did. So,
Yeah, let's do a review.
so we have our chicken that we marinated in the Greek yogurt, and then we
Yep.
made sure that we salt and peppered it. We rolled it in our crushed up cornflakes that have a little bit of Parmesan cheese in them, and we put them in the air fryer for 20 minutes at 390 degrees, which is the
Yeah.
highest my air fryer goes. And then I have my green beans, and I have my carrots, and I have my asparagus that I roasted ahead of time in the oven, 450 degrees for 20 minutes. So
Okay.
now you've got enough going on for you for today and maybe tomorrow for lunch. So you do
Yeah,
it once, and
absolutely.
then you have excess. My thought is if you're going to put the oven on, put everything in there and then be done.
Right? That's a great idea. Yeah, if you're gonna use it for one thing, might
Don't
as well
waste your oven. Don't waste your oven space.
don't waste your oven. Yeah, absolutely.
So, any questions while we're waiting?
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so let me see if we had any more
We
questions
have 1 minute
here.
left on our chicken.
Wow, that's quick. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, so the important part, because you said it's a method, so any type of protein you could substitute it with.
Yes. So, if you don't like chickens, you could do marinated pork. You can put your pork tenderloins in and slice them up ahead of time, put them in your
Yeah,
yogurt, batter them
yeah,
up, put them in. If you
yeah.
don't like batter, then you just marinate it in the yogurt and bake it like that. And it comes out
Hmm.
fantastic. It really gives it a nice texture. Let's
Okay.
say that you don't like either of those and you're a pescatarian. You can do the same thing with a thick, meaty fish.
Hmm.
Roll it, coat it, it's delish. You could do it with tofu. So if you're not a meat eater at all, you can marinate your tofu and then hit it with some cornstarch and pop that, or you could use cornflakes too, and pop that into your air fryer or your regular oven. Same thing.
Yeah.
So it's very versatile. If you're
Hmm.
somebody like, if you are vegan and you don't do dairy, then I would recommend doing your tofu, marinate it in some Asian sauces, so some soy sauce and some sesame
Okay.
oil, and then go ahead and coat it in your cornstarch and do it in the air fryer that way.
Okay. Right. What does
We have to make
cornstarch do
everybody
for it?
happy.
It like it replaces the
Meat.
yogurt. Ah, the wheat.
Here we go. That's our chicken.
Wow. That
Now,
was
to make sure that it's done, we have our handy dandy oven thermometer. We always want to go ahead and for the thickest part of the chicken, we have to make sure it's at least 165. When we are there, we're actually at 180. So it could have come out a few minutes early, but
okay.
you never know. So you want to make sure. I'd rather have
Yeah.
it stays super juicy this way. So there really isn't an overcooking. It's
Yeah, with the
always,
stir fry.
yeah. So, and the actual yogurt helps it to stay juicy. So it's great. So let's take some
Man,
tongs. We'll
you're
take a
really
look at
hitting it from all angles. That's very smart.
Hey, hey, I have a little bit of experience.
Yeah,
So there
definitely.
we go. You can see that steam coming off of there.
Wow.
Nice and crunchy. You can hear that crunch.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
definitely.
I really want you to try it. And I want you to tell me what you think. Like, put it down in the comments. If you make it, I always come back and
Yeah,
check. So make
that
sure
would
you
be
let
good.
us know. And then we'll
Um,
take a look. Yep. Tell
we
me.
had another one. What foods are good to consume as a pre-workout?
So one of the things that I love to have as a pre-workout is protein oats. So I take oatmeal and I make overnight oats out of them. So it's just like 1 cup of oats, 1 cup of
Mhm.
almond milk, a scoop of protein powder, and then whatever I like to put in there, berries, bananas, or whatever. I mix it all up and you just put it in the refrigerator overnight. And I have that before I work out. Now, there are some times if I teach water fitness and I cannot eat before I teach or I get kind of so
Yeah.
as soon as that's the case, then I make these things called protein balls. So it looks like these. And I can have a couple of those before I work out. It is
Oh,
protein
wow.
powder, peanut butter. I'll drop the recipe below. Protein powder,
Oh,
peanut butter,
nice.
oatmeal, honey. So it's got a little bit of everything in it. And then it's just enough energy to kind of get me through the workout. And then after I work out and I've showered up and everything, then I'll eat. Because sometimes my stomach just doesn't like me otherwise.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you when you're moving, but you sometimes you need just a quick filler until you actually get a meal in, and
Yes.
that is you make them into small little balls like that with
Yes.
oat.
So it's 3 cups of oats, a cup of peanut butter,
Yeah,
a quarter cup of raw honey, and
yeah.
then a little bit of water and some protein powder. And you just mix it all up and you make little meatball sized balls. I'll take one out and then it's just fantastic for on the go. It kind of replaces granola, but they're
That's
no bake. So you can
amazing.
have them ready and I make them constantly because I can never keep them in the house. So
Right.
let's take a look at our
Look,
veggie girl there. Take a look at
yeah,
our
that's a great tip. I like that tip.
veggie. So at the stage that they're at now, put this on. These are all good and ready to eat, but I tend to like them to be a little bit darker. So what I would typically
Those are
do,
the vegetables.
yeah, they're well cooked and you could eat them just like this. But
Absolutely.
I like them to be a little bit more caramelized, so I would leave them in maybe 5 minutes longer.
Okay.
But I also love to do things like add a little bit of Italian cheese to the top of the broccoli. Maybe I'll put some sauce on it so it tastes like pizza.
Hmm.
So you got to kind of think out of the box. Like, you don't want to eat the same thing all the time. So mix it
Right.
up. So maybe one night you use the broccoli just like this. And the next night you add sauce, tomato sauce to it. And the next time you have broccoli, you add Asian flavors to it. Because you
Right.
don't want that repetitive cycle where you feel like you're eating the same
No.
thing all the time.
Yeah,
But you can cook it all in one batch and then change the flavors on the day that you're going to eat it.
that is genius. Yeah,
And
because I
sometimes I'll
think
use
that's
the
what.
broccoli in an omelet in the morning. So you consciously have to
Oh,
think,
yeah.
how can I get more vegetables into my diet?
That's a great question because I think people tend to want to, yeah, incorporate more greens, but they don't know how. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but it's more, let's cook a batch of vegetables and then marinate them according to if it's an afternoon meal, if it's
Yes,
dinner, if it's
yes,
breakfast.
you can fix them up. Sometimes I eat like roasted vegetable sandwiches. I just like, I just thought. So here is our spaghetti squash, and you can see it gets nice and noodly
Yeah,
looking.
that's
And I
perfect.
don't actually like it. I actually like it with just a little
Oh,
bit
you
of
don't?
Parmesan cheese and a little melted butter, just plain. I like it just like this. I just
Because it
scrape it
does
up.
have a lot of flavor.
What's that?
Squash has a sweet flavor to it. I mean, it has
I
its own,
love it. I love it. It's
yeah.
my stomach doesn't like garlic anymore, but before it was okay with it, I always put like pesto and a little bit of cheese on it. It was my favorite. Now I go with a little bit of butter and a little bit of cheese because my stomach doesn't really like pesto anymore.
Mm.
You get older and your body changes, and it's like, hello, I don't like that anymore. So that's what happened to me. So we just take a little bit of this pure gold butter. And by the way, I'm an addict of really good butter.
Are you? That's
Yes,
good.
I cannot, I have to buy really good butter. We'll put a
We
little
got
dash
another
of salt.
question coming in.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on diets that remove entire food groups, like carnivore diet, where it's eating all meat and fats, good for you or bad for you?
In my
That's a good
opinion, if
question.
you can't live with it the rest of your life, there's no point in doing it.
Mm,
So, good or bad is subjective. If it works for you, I
mhm,
think it's okay. But I would say that eliminating whole food groups isn't going to get you where you need to be. You're not going to be able to get your fiber in. You're not going to be able to get your healthy carbs in there if all you're eating is meat, right? At the
yeah,
same time, if that's what's going to get you to the weight loss that you need to get for health purposes, then I think it's okay. But are you going to be able to do that for the rest of your life?
that's a
As
very good
someone
question.
who lost 50 pounds, trying every strategy in the world before that, losing
Yeah.
it, gaining it back, you have to do something you can eat the way that way the rest of your life. Now, if you could lose the weight or the fat and eat all variety of foods, why wouldn't you do that?
Mhm,
Why wouldn't you? Right? Why
yeah,
would you want to give up something? I just, for me, that doesn't make any sense. And
yeah,
for the athletes that I work with, you need those healthy carbs and you need the healthy fats and you need all that stuff. So my answer is a little bit complex in that it's not wrong to eat that way, but
mhm,
is it sustainable? And
yeah,
therein lies the problem because I don't really know anybody that's sustained it for long periods of time.
yeah.
So that's where I would be. I'm just gonna
I
go
think
ahead
it's
and grate some of this Parmesan cheese on it, and then I will
wow.
sacrifice myself and taste it for you because I'm nice like that.
That's okay, that's
Since
fine.
y'all can't eat it, I'll do it for you. You're welcome.
Yeah, we'll let it go this time.
All right,
But that was a good question.
let's give it a little taste.
I
I'm
think
always
when
on.
so you
Mm,
added you microwaved the squash, yes,
5 minutes,
5
covered.
minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Then I put it in the oven for 20 minutes while
20
we're doing
minutes.
this.
Yeah,
Then I shred it. I added a tiny bit of butter, some salt, and some Parmesan cheese, and that's it.
that's
Done.
it.
Yep.
What a meal. That's
All right.
great.
So now, thank you very much. I have dinner. I have lots of vegetables. I have my dessert.
That's great.
I wish you were all here to eat it with me. But also, I want to tell you that I want you to think out of the box. There's a bazillion
Mm,
different kinds of vegetables. There's a lot. You can even roast fruits. There are lots of ways. Don't get stuck with one way to do something. Be experimental. Try different veggies. So I don't know where
mhm.
before before you all came on with me, I roasted up. I had some leftover Brussels sprouts.
Yeah,
So I
that's good.
roasted those up. I did some onion. So now those will come into a pasta. I'll make a pasta primavera and put the rest of the roasted vegetables in there.
Mhm.
But you can think of different ways to do it. All different ways to incorporate these vegetables. And your
Yeah.
body will feel so much better It's amazing how much better I felt when I switched things up. Because I used to own a bakery, and no lie, I lived on barely any food. I would eat like a piece of bread, a piece of a muffin, a piece of this, and I thought, how come I can never lose weight? Well, it's because I wasn't ever eating real food.
Yeah,
So once you start eating real food and your metabolism starts working properly, you're
right.
gonna see that you feel so much more energized, and your fitness level will rise and rise.
That's it. Okay. Really, it's
That's our
whole
goal, right?
food. Yeah, definitely. And I think it's about I was gonna say, is there any difference between frying vegetables or baking vegetables or steaming them? Does it really change anything?
So I would say steaming is an excellent way to do it. Air frying or high heat roasting, using a wok. What I don't like is actual frying. You can saute, but if you're frying something in copious amounts of oils, you're really getting rid of all those nutrients. So
Hmm.
think minimal oil,
Yeah.
higher heat. That high heat will bring out the natural sweetness in your vegetables. You'll get that
Oh,
nice caramelization. So
yeah.
I mean,
That
there are many schools of thought. I mean, lots of people like to use their slow cooker for the vegetables, and I am not opposed to that. But for
yeah.
me, it just doesn't have any flavor. They just get sort of wilty.
Yeah, well, that's yeah, exactly. I was thinking both in context of like the flavor and then it, like the vitamins themselves. Yeah, I think that's really important to consider.
I mean, I live in the South, and in the South, it's very common that people cook their vegetables to death. Like that's a thing. Like really soft vegetables. But and I don't like crunchy vegetables. I like them nicely soft but
Yeah,
crispy on the outside. So
right.
that's why I go with the high heat because it gives you that kind of think of
Yeah.
French fry. It's got a crunch on the outside, but it's kind of soft on
Mhm.
the inside. That's what I look for.
Right. Wow, that's super. And I like what you said. I mean, it's a whole method, so you can like substitute. Because at the end of the day,
You
uh,
got to go with what you have.
yeah, well, yeah, you got to go with what you have. But then you said you need your fats, you need your carbs, you need your proteins, you need just a
Yes.
little bit of everything. And if you think about it, any food that we eat is basically that. You have either a piece of meat or you even from tofu,
Yeah,
and then you go to having your vegetables. You can mix that up. I think it's just the way you cook it.
it is. It definitely is. Let's take a look at the last thing here, and that is our little our little flatbread. So now you could make this into a pizza. You could eat it just as a flatbread. You could stuff it with those vegetables and a little bit of cheese and make it like a quesadilla. So endless options. I could have taken
Ah, that's
both.
the dough.
Yeah. I could have taken both doughs and rolled it out big and folded it over and made a calzone. Took all those vegetables in there with some cheese. Would have been fabulous. So
Oh, okay.
here's the thing. It's not about the recipe. It's
No,
about your creativity and what you could do with it. So
yeah.
my challenge to you is to try these things, get back to me and tell me how they work.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. That's
It's
a
homework. It's
really
homework time.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So anyone who's part of the what's your favorite? So oh my uncle, he's saying hello. So that's
Hello,
Theo.
Uncle.
Yeah. And then we have another question. But I was just
Yes.
gonna say that is a great challenge. So anyone who's watching the replay, especially those in the accountability group, we
Get
just
to
threw out
it.
another challenge. Exactly. Rewatch the watch the replay and then see if you can actually incorporate this because I liked a couple of your ideas. It was really amazing.
Good. And
Let
drink
me
your
get
water. Drink your water. Drink your water.
I'm drinking water right here. Absolutely.
Me
I
too.
tend to get dehydrated. But we have another question.
Okay.
What's your favorite cooking oil and butter to use and why? And so he
Okay.
says, I use avocado oil and pure Irish butter.
Yes. This is my pure Irish butter. Kerrygold is my fave.
Okay.
And then I use an avocado oil spray
Oh wow.
and a really good Greek olive oil. I like
Hmm.
Greek olive oil because although Italian olive oil gets the best crap, I like Greek olive oil because it tastes more olivey, if that's a word. It just has a little bit stronger flavor. It's a little bit more green, and I just happen to like that. So those are my three oils that I typically use. I do use coconut oil once in a while too, but more coconut oil is more for baking than for, you know, frying and sautéing and things like that. Just
Yeah.
it leaves a little more hint of coconut than I usually like for that.
Right. Yeah, he says we use the same oil. We
Yeah, see? Aha. Good choices.
That's a great so we have a challenge. I really like that. I'm gonna have to rewatch this. But they're really simple because it's the method that counts.
Yes.
And then
And I will I'll type up the method so that y'all have what I used. And then I
perfect.
want you to get creative and do it yourself.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna wanna watch some videos, people showing their plate. Well, I guess I have to do it. I'm
Yes.
accepting the challenge, so I'm gonna try to
Do
do
it.
it. So please leave the comments below the method. That way we can all do it. And then yeah, this is amazing.
It'll be fun.
I really like this. Christine, it's been absolutely amazing. I know that
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I thank you for taking the time and
Yeah.
then forking out the materials. I wish I was there to eat some with you.
I wish
Uh,
y'all were too.
Yeah, there you go. Better have to be for next time. But thank you for throwing out that challenge because I think everyone's gonna like that. And then yeah, once again, thank you for taking the time
It
to
is
do
so
this.
much
And
fun.
yeah, and then being able to answer those questions and really being able to think about nutrition kind of in a different set. It doesn't have to be difficult.
Right. And if you have more questions, put them in the comments. I'll come back and take a look when
Okay,
I put the recipes in there and then methodologies in there, and then I'll answer them if you need me to.
perfect. That's so
All
great.
right. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you, Christine. All right. Talk to you soon.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.